Welcome to the Mix-Minus podcast, the 6th annual March Madness NCAA Tournament podcast preview with Matthew O'Daniels. Matt, 6 years. What do you think?
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day. I am excited. I think this is the first time that, and at least that I can remember, where everybody's kind of been represented well. I don't think there have been any major gripes, although just before getting on the horn with you, I had to read this. I've just read this Katie Yao, complaint fest from North Carolina State. You know what? Hey, Wolfpack, next time you score, this is a team that scored 24 points and set a record for the lowest points scored in an NCAA Division I game. The ACC got 7 teams in. Your 9-9 conference record does not, stop complaining with the NC State and the Clemsons, because then if you're gonna give me a 9-9 ACC, NC State or Clemson, then I'm going to want a Furman, and then I'm going to want a UNC Greensboro. So I think for at least this is our 6th year doing this. They've got it right. I'm very excited about this bracket. Although the Pac-12 getting 3 teams in was a little confusing, but other than that, I think this overall it was a great bracket that they got right. Not to say that they don't, but I think it was a very fair job done by the committee this year.
When you're letting in this many teams, it's pretty much always going to be, for the most part, right? It's not like when we talk about the NCAA football playoffs where, the 4 get in and then there's the big bowls, but it's really the 4 for the playoffs. This is a huge field that's only expanded. But I'll tell you what, this year, I just don't remember myself personally watching as much conference tournament basketball as I did this year. And I think it was probably because it was just so good, and it was like a TV show where you start watching and then you're just binging it. You can't stop. And I think it almost started with the fact that I've been watching and following Ja Morant for much of this season, because he is going to be probably one of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft. And it's kind of a neat story that he's playing at Murray State, and I have the ESPN Plus, and they have all the Murray State games on ESPN Plus. So I was watching a lot of him, and it wasn't like, I remember several years ago when we did a podcast and we were talking all about what's his name, the guy from Kansas who was the top pick and then went to the T-Wolves. He's made such Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins. He's totally not made an impact to the point where I just forgot that, even though it is the end of St. Patrick's Day and the nighttime. But I remember watching him, and we would talk about the fact that we'd watch him because we knew what he was prognosticated to be as a player. And a lot of games you'd watch him and he'd be kind of hidden. And I remember you were like, no, I saw one game where he scored 44 points against West Virginia or something. And it's like, oh, okay. But the cool thing with Ja Morant, every time I watched him, he was unbelievable. He took the game over and you couldn't keep your eyes off of him. So I've almost wondered if the fact, they were the first team in, I believe, right? Didn't they have the first conference? I think they were the first final. They were the first team actually, I believe, that got in.
Their ticket.
Yeah, so from that moment I was watching it, and the interesting part is they played a team who was just as good as them. As much as you wanted Ja Morant in there, Belmont was totally a legit contender, and I was happy to see that they still did make it in here to the first 4, because when I was watching that game intently for the Ja Morant angle, they were really, really good, and they were hanging strong, and they have a really good kind of lefty. I don't know what he'll be at the NBA level, but they had this lefty player who what is it, Windler or something like that?
Yeah.
And he's hitting threes, and he's got a pretty good game. Not Ja Morant, but I kind of felt good about that. And then starting from there, I had the momentum. And every game I watched was just better and better. And this weekend started to me, I don't know about you, it started to feel to me like the NCAA tournament with some of these high-level games when you're talking UNC Duke, Tennessee, Kentucky, and those were like the semis. But was this the best?
It was pretty good, and obviously having Zion Williamson back in, he almost makes Duke likable. It's kind of strange. Either like Duke or you don't like Duke. I'm one of those guys that doesn't really, I respect the hell out of Duke, but it's just one of those deals where I don't care if, when Duke lost to South Carolina a few years ago, like I was glad they lost. But having Zion back is almost like, it's kind of, I'm going to watch them, and they almost feel like he's a fun player to watch. They're almost like, not that I'm a root for him, but they're almost likable, which is kind of funny. But Rick Byrd over at Belmont. He's been there for 33 years, and I think it was kudos. I don't give kudos to the committee for finally getting it right, or for not having that many controversies this year. But obviously, those two teams from the Ohio Valley should have gotten in. Even if Murray State had lost, they probably should have gone in had Belmont won the Ohio Valley tournament. But it's a great. I'm looking forward to it. I think this year was very fun, a lot of fun. To your point, and it's going to make the first four starting on Tuesday and Wednesday even more fun. I'm really looking forward to this tournament.
One of the things that's been so fascinating to me about Zion Williamson, and you live in his backyard. You live in pretty much the state, right, where he came up.
I live in Wofford, Gardner Webb's backyard. But yeah, anyway.
Zion keeps you in his backyard. No, but so everyone knew, and we all saw the Sports Illustrated articles, and we saw the highlights, but I don't think any of us really knew what he was as a player. Like, he was a highlight machine. But I think seeing him in NCAA at Duke, where they're playing on national television all the time, it was like the perfect symbiosis of player and team and national profile. And I'll tell you, they have 3 players on that team who are maybe top 5 picks, definitely top 10 picks. And how much has Zion distinguished himself above them? Like, that's the part to me that's crazy. Amazing.
It's crazy, and it's like they were 3-3 without him when he went out with the busted shoe. And then I think it was last night, it was yesterday in the title game against Florida State. He just had this open court, 3-quarter bounce pass that was just so perfect. I mean, the guy can play ball, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, we don't really know what he's going to be when he goes to the league." He's kind of not defined. Is he a small forward or is he a big guard? Is he going to be out of shape? Or what's his deal? I think he'll be fine.
He's like a small Shaq, to be honest. I mean, the intensity he plays with, I don't think he's going to have any problem at the next level, because he like when you play pickup basketball, like you or I, and we're playing at the local high school, and we're good. We know how to play well. We have moxie, and we have we have the brain for the game. Backdoor passes. We know how to play.
Good fundies. Good fundies, as Keith.
Absolutely. But then there's the guy or two who shows up who played at junior college, and they're just dominating the action without even trying that hard. And you go, oh, okay, all right. I'm in my kind of own sphere getting a workout here. But this guy just owns this. I don't even think he's getting a workout. I don't even know why he shows up. And Zion is sort of like that. Like, on Coast, he's like the great guy at the pickup game. And when he's playing hard, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, I am so intrigued to see what he does at the next level. And there was a period of time where I was saying to myself, oh, you know what? I don't know if he's going to be as good as we think he's going to be. I mean, we're talking about him at LeBron James levels, right? I mean, that's the full level. But I'm like, oh, maybe he'll be like a many-time All-Star. I just think he's so physically imposing that nobody plays like that. And that physical imposition is going to distinguish him at the next level, to the point where you're not going to be able to take your eyes off of him. And I think it's just going to be, fantastic. It's a weird one. I put this out there on one of these social media groups. You know who he weirdly reminds me of? Rodney Rogers. And I know he's not Rodney Rogers, but there was another Carolina guy. But you remember, even when Rodney got into the league, he was really big, and he had that lefty 3-pointer shot. And I could almost see that kind of weird body type becoming a 3-point shooter. But then when I went back to highlights of college, he was a lot leaner. And I even found a highlight where Rodney Rogers did a 360 dunk in transition, just like Zion did this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Zion's so much better than I'm not trying to poo-poo your comparison. I'm just saying I think Zion's so much better than anybody had imagined. He obviously came in with a lot of hype, but he's been better than advertised as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett are insanely good too.
Yeah,
they're gonna distinguish at the next level. I was almost thinking Duke this year has felt a little bit like the Kentucky teams of the previous half decade, where all the players were 10 to 14 points a game, so you never really knew who was going to kind of step out at the NBA level, and then all of a sudden they're all really good at the NBA level. This team, this Duke team, is sort of like that. They're so ubiquitous with great players that I think it's going to be a fun one to look back in 5 years, 10 years, and be like, oh my God, we were watching that on one college team. This basic, like, just marauding team. And I mean, really the big game I watched this year, and it would be the thing that would make me worry for them a little bit in the tournament, in this really just, one loss and you're out type of deal. It's not a 7-game or a 5-game series where you can make up for a bad game, was that Louisville game when they were down, 24? And there was like under 10 minutes to go. And I remember turning it off when it went down at that high level. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting that alert pinging me on my phone. The sports, you get those, hey, this game's getting close. And you're like, wait, no, it's not. There's no way. And I came back and I was like, wow, they came back.
I actually had that game. It's funny. I actually had that game. I think it was a Tuesday or Thursday night. I don't even remember. The point is that I had to have my highlights in by 10:45. The game wasn't over, but they were up by, whatever it was, 17 when I gave my highlights in. There was 9 minutes left. I get in the car. I'm getting texts from my friends. I turn on the car, and the dude comes back to win it. It was crazy. I don't know. I think getting just totally blown. I think a Duke Carolina final would be awesome.
Oh my God.
that hasn't happened before.
And we hate that. And we hate that.
And we do, but I think,
this year it's great.
Did you watch the semifinal the other night?
Oh my God. That was as good as it
tremendous. It was tremendous. It really was. So that's what I kind of have, to kind of go through the bracket and just let's get to a Duke Carolina final. Yep, I just said it. So it probably won't happen because everybody and everybody's probably going to pick that. But I think that would be the sexiest, if not the most watched final, and it hasn't happened before yet. So that would be intriguing to say the least.
It would be tremendous. Minneapolis, of course. It would be nice if it were in Charlotte or something. So before we get into the actual brackets, who got screwed? Who am I not seeing that should be here?
If you want to say NC State or Clemson, I just then if you're going to say that, then I'm going to say UNC Greensboro, or then I'm going to say Furman, or then I'm going to say a Davidson, or a VCU type of team, because you have 4 teams coming in from the AAC. I was kind of surprised UCF got in. No knock on them. It's just, VCU is in. I'm sorry, but if you're going to give me, because UCF is playing VCU. Excuse me. But if you're going to, I really don't think anyone got seriously screwed. People are going to say Indiana or TCU. Well, no, I think the committee did a fairly good job. The only gripe, if you want to look at Ken Pom and if you want to look at all the stats, you can say that I guess NC State might have gotten screwed. But once again, NC State, call me back when you don't score 24 points in a game, and then have a comeback win against Clemson the week before on the 26th of January, which was just ridiculous. But I think net overall, I think the committee got it right, which is nice to hear, a little refreshing. Probably should have been happening more. I think there were 11 conferences this year with more than 2 bids. So that was kind of nice to see. Surprised that the Pac-12 got three in. Obviously, Arizona State getting that play-in game. But Arizona State's playing St. John's, and the winner of that plays Buffalo. And that would be kind of weird if Arizona State did win, because then, Hurley would be coaching his old school Buffalo. And that would be a kind of a story. But then you see another storyline would be Minnesota's playing Louisville. Rick Pitino's son is coaching Minnesota, and they're playing his father's old team, the Louisville Cardinal. But I think overall net, the committee got it right. I don't think there's any team that can legitimately say that they got screwed. I think the committee did it right, finally.
2 quick things. One thing that jumped out to me, you bring up NC State, and then I see on here LSU. How interesting is it that several years after NC State had Dennis Smith Jr., who was a lottery pick, and LSU had Ben Simmons, who was number 2, I think. How interesting is it that they were bad when they had these transcendent players? And then several years later, maybe a knock-on effect of actually having those guys initially, they're actually good. Same thing with Washington, actually, where they bottomed out with Markelle Fultz. Now we're looking at Markelle Fultz in the NBA and going, ooh, maybe it wasn't there, although you and I saw him in college, and he was phenomenal. But how interesting is that action where you have these transcendent players who really can't do much of anything, Ben Simmons did the most, although he really did the most, kind of getting to 17, 18 wins, which is decent, but not great. But you look at how those teams have turned around, sort of building teams up that actually get to the tournament anyway.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting when you say that. I just think it's a credit to the programs themselves, having the bagman not getting in trouble, whereas Will Wade is getting caught on an FBI wiretap, the head coach at LSU, and he admits to all this, and he still wants to coach. I mean, it's incredible. Or the USC scandal, with all these people coming in, and then Yale being one of those schools mentioned, and they're in. I mean, Harvard. I mean, whatever. It's just funny. It's just you have administrations and backers of programs that kind of know what to do and what not to do, and obviously LSU and Will Wade didn't know how to handle it. I think it was one of those deals where you have a Simmons come in a few years ago, and then LSU kind of commits to, all right, well, we're going to have our backers and our boosters do it the way we're supposed to do it. But I don't know how the heck he got caught in that whole deal, and then admits to it, and then still wants to coach. Well, dude, you're not going to coach. But anyway,
yeah. And then lastly, what is the deal with the Indiana? I saw a lot of ink about this. And what was the deal? They didn't have a great record or in
they were
conference.
19 and 15. Yeah, I don't know what their gripe is. I mean, I really don't. I don't even want to discuss it. That's a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. I think maybe because they can say, well, we're Indiana. Well, yeah, you're Indiana and you were 19 and 15. I mean, they weren't, They
had good wins, though, too. Didn't they beat Michigan State twice or something?
Yeah, but whoop-de-damn do. Yeah. I mean, look at their non-conference schedule and look who they – it wasn't that – sometimes people want to look at the numbers all day and all night, but then I counter with the NC State. Well, I saw you guys score 24 points in a game, and then I saw you guys play against Clemson in a game that you should have lost. And the same goes to be said. I saw Clemson play NC Central earlier in the year in November down at Clemson, and Clemson's not that good. I mean, 9-9 in the ACC is fine. But 9-9 in the ACC is not going to get you obviously into the tournament.
Well, I think the secret is you got to get 20 wins, right? I mean, if you're not in a if you're not winning your tournament, you have to. And that was something I noticed today watching Yale Harvard in the final. In some respects, those teams get hurt because it doesn't seem like they play the amount of games as a lot of these other leagues. It seems like they play about 28 games, which is a really tough mark to get to 20.
Right, and that's what's so funny because I looked at Harvard and I thought that, man, they look like a legitimate NCAA.
That was a great final today.
Yeah, even though they lost by whatever it was, 15, they looked like they could compete with a lot of teams. But be that as it may, to your point, they only play what is it, 29 games or 28 or 30 or whatever.
Why is that?
I think a lot of it is because in your non-conference, you're gonna get teams who. I think a lot of it has to do with how well you perform in your preseason tournaments, and then for a team like that, let's just say an Ivy League team, they're just not going to schedule the extra 2 or 3 games because of school or because sometimes there's scheduling conflicts. Sometimes it's travel. Sometimes teams don't want to play. I know a lot of teams wouldn't want to schedule a Belmont or schedule a Furman or schedule a Wofford because like a Clemson, why would they want to schedule? I remember a few years ago, UNC scheduled Wofford at a home and home, and Wofford goes up to Chapel Hill and beats them. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those deals where, well, maybe we don't want to schedule that extra game. Whereas obviously, if you're the underdog, you're playing with house money. You'll get the check and you'll go to get to play at UNC. But a lot of that has to come down to just scheduling, travel, classes, and then obviously the payouts and stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I feel like, we're spending way too much time talking about the Ivy League, but I kind of feel like if Harvard won today, Yale might have still made it because they had 21 wins, I think. Yeah, 22?
It's weird. It's weird. It's like they should have. It's weird. I think Harvard and Yale are better than most.
Yeah.
It's strange. I think a Yale and a Harvard are better than Bradley, but that's just or an Iona. But Iona goes out and wins their the Metro Athletic they win the MAC. They go out and win their tournament. So it's interesting. Yep.
All right. Well, let's go clockwise. We'll start with the first four, and I'll tell you what. I think I've said this every year. I think the first four is tremendous, and it is not a bad thing to get in there because you can. It's almost like the wild card game in baseball. You can catch momentum. I know in baseball you wipe your starter unless you're the Oakland A's last year, right? Didn't they start
that's
like
so horrible?
but,
it's horrible.
You know, you kind of can get momentum, and everybody's watching you. Nobody gets the chance to watch you when you're on Thursday and Friday because there's just so many games. You only see the finishes, really.
Unless you're like me, you can take the days off and watch the games.
Well, no, but anyway. I mean, even doing that, you can't watch it the way you can watch these games, where you can basically watch them from front to back, from start to finish.
And to your point, and if you're not watching the SEC title game, and this is a quick side note before we get to go. All right, so I did a lot of SEC games this year. I mean, the Love Fest, it's so funny because SEC is a football conference, so the SEC will take a Dick Vitale and he's good for our brand because it just means more in the SEC. Whatever. Yeah. He just goes off his right. He's just blabbing away. And then I'm watching the SEC final today in the first half, and we're getting a split screen of Bruce the whole year. But it's been like this the whole year, so it's not to be surprised. It's not to be it's not a surprising thing. But you get a split screen of the actual game going on, and then Bruce Pearl, the antics of Bruce Pearl. I mean, what a joke! The SEC. Oh my God! No. It's nauseating. It's so horrible. Like Bruce Pearl, but you know what? Shame on the SEC because Bruce Pearl and Dick Vitale are pulling one over on them because the SEC basketball just doesn't know any better. But it's funny. It's just really funny. It's just getting split screen of Bruce Pearl. Give me a break.
No, absolutely. What do you think of the Fox Sports one with the NBA and NBC theme song? Do you like it or not?
Love it.
Yeah.
You know what? Initially, it was weird because I remember I heard it. But you know what? That's those are the rights, and Fox Sports one. They went and bought it, and whatever. It's just obviously it's not the same. But you know what? It's 2019. What is the same anymore? You know what I mean? It's just I like it.
I'll tell you, I like it back in circulation. I would almost rather it be with, I don't know, one of the other networks, and then Fox. I still think Fox has the great theme music, like with the Fox affiliates. True. They play all over the one. Like that is a great one. I was always bummed out when the Nets left Fox Sports to go to Yes. And then the Yes song is just not good. I miss that. I miss that moment whenever I'm watching NBA League Pass, and you have the open, and they're about to go into the first words from the announcers, and they just have that great. I love it. I love that song. So I almost wish Fox could keep that, but I love having NBA on NBC back. That is just so good. John Tesh, isn't it John Tesh?
Yes, it is. So we have the Harvard on the Hackensack, Fairleigh Dickinson playing Prairie View A&M. Let's go fairly ridiculous and go with the Knights of FDU.
That's a good one.
They had to win every game that year, every game in the tournament for the Northeast Conference title. I don't know, but
and got to 20. Yeah, like it.
Who knows? That's a 16.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter because whoever wins that game is obviously probably going to more than likely lose to Gonzaga. But I like fairly ridiculous there.
Belmont Temple is a nice one because you got 2 11s, and I think I love it. I didn't see a minute of Temple, but I'm pretty pumped up about what Belmont does. So I think they're going to win.
You got Fran Dunphy, who's coaching his last game. He coached at Penn for years. And I was coaching at Temple. They got the at-large, and then against Belmont an at-large. And Rick Bird's been at Belmont for 33 years. And I don't know. It should be a good game. You'd expect Belmont to win that game. They shoot nearly 50% from the field, like overall, which is ridiculous. Like it's just bizarre. I think it's like 48% from the field, including 3-pointers, which is bizarre. So you expect Belmont to win that game.
Yeah, and this guy's good. I mean, we're talking 20 Dylan Windler, the guy we were talking about on Belmont. He's 6'8", 200 pounds. He might be in the NBA, and he's listed as a guard, too. To me, he feels a little slow as a guard, but and he doesn't. I don't feel like his handles are amazing. But the guy's got 21 and 10, and it's not 10 assists. Isn't that the part that throws you off about him? That it's rebounds.
Yeah,
he really rebounds, and 20, the 21-10, really impressive, and only 3 assists. But he's a nice little player to watch to get the night to themselves here.
Yep, and moving forward, I did see NC Central. They're playing North Dakota State. NC Central is kind of that small college. they basically sit right next to Duke and Carolina up in Tobacco Road area. They come out of the MEAC. They're playing North Dakota State. In the first four games, a game against a game of the 16s. I don't know. I like NC Central only because I saw them this year against Clemson.
You brought up Arizona State against St. John's.
The Johnnies.
I mean, they deserve to be there, 21 wins, but from what I remember, their conference record wasn't amazing.
They kind of sloughed off. I mean, they came out of the gates like on all cylinders, and then of late they just have been kind of sloughing off. But Shamori Pons is really, really good. He's that dynamic of a guard. And Arizona State, I really don't know. I think they just kind of similar to St. John's. Both teams kind of started out of the gate really hot, and then the last 2 months just kind of been whatever.
But they got here. It's a nice game. It's funny with St. John's. They get the big coaches, and the coaches find a way to bring them back and get them to the tournament, and that's like enough. You want to see one kind of stick and see them there year after year, like our boys, Seton Hall. Good for them when we'll get there, but like that's what you want. You know, you want the build. You don't want getting to the tournament to be the big moment, and then it's like the coach goes, "Whew, I'm exhausted from that."
Well, it's funny because I saw Lavin coach's last game at St. John's against San Diego State over here in Charlotte 4 years ago, and now Mullen's in his 4th year. And from all indications and sources on my end, I think Mullen plans to stay, so he's not going to be aborting the mission.
No. All right, now we go clockwise into it. Now this is interesting. We would usually say a 1-16 is in the book for the one, but Virginia is the one that got beat last year by UMBC. Now they got Gardner Webb.
I was there. And you know what's funny? This game is down in Columbia, just down the road.
Oh, my God.
It's like, and Gardner Webb is just up the road in Shelby, North Carolina. It's like, holy cow. I mean, Virginia is just, I'm sorry. Like, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
You know what, though? The one thing you do have to say, man, they have like the efficiency and proficiency of like the Atlanta Braves 90s runs because like, they had their hearts ripped out. It is, but they had their hearts ripped out and still went 29-3 and found themselves as the number 1 seed the next year. That in itself is very impressive.
No, it is. And it, obviously Bennett gets the players and they have a culture, they have a system, and they do what they do. And I thought Bennett held himself with class last year. Come on, man. I don't even know what the spread is, but obviously I would bet high that the Cavaliers would roll over Gardner Webb. But, until seeing, it's just one of those deals where, Gardner Webb, does anybody know where they're from Shelby, North Carolina. They are the Bulldogs, and they're playing with house money.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. They have a pretty good player, though, in mock drafts. I'm looking at NBC, and they got number 9, DeAndre Hunter.
Well, that's what happened.
Number 9 to the Pelicans. He didn't play last year. Right?
He didn't play last year, and that's the whole deal. And that's what everybody's been saying. Well, he didn't play last year. Well, that's fine. He didn't play last year. He still lost in the 6th. You still made history.
Oh,
so,
100%.
You know what I mean? But no, to your point, he didn't play this year. He'll be playing this year against Gardner Webb down at Colonial Life Arena, and I expect, and everybody in America expects, a Virginia Cavaliers victory.
And it's funny because you just think it's the defense. We're expecting they move best, but as we talk about how they move forward, but you get some players and they make it to the NBA. You or I probably didn't think Malcolm Brogdon was going to be anything, and that guy has really turned into
he's great.
A high-level pro.
He's going to be out the next 6 to 8 weeks. But he's been great for my fantasy basketball, yes.
Well, and he was on track to only be, the 7th or 8th player ever to have a 40, 50, 90 year? Unbelievable. Yep. Real efficiency, true Virginia. Next up, Mississippi.
And one more thing. Yeah. Who's the guy who plays for Brooklyn from Virginia? Plays for the Nets, the white guy.
Oh, Joe Harris?
Yeah, he's pretty good, too.
No, yeah, he's come on really well, actually. Yeah, no, it's true. Good NBA players, and he wasn't.
It's a good system they got going on down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's been a good net. Mississippi, Oklahoma. What do you got?
Lon Kruger's 6th tournament. It's weird. Lon Kruger has stayed at Oklahoma this long, but against Kermit Davis, Ole Miss team, I think this will be a very fun 8-9 game. I like Ole Miss though.
Yeah,
I like Kermit Davis. That's my edge is going to be.
Wisconsin, Oregon. So you got Oregon in as a Pac-12 team.
They had to win 4 games to get in, and they surprisingly beat Washington in a horrible down year for the Conference of Champions. I expect Wisconsin to roll over the Ducks.
Now, isn't a problem for the Ducks? Bol is their big player, Manute Bol's son, and he's been out much of the year, right?
Yeah, they've had to rely on their perimeter play, and the Ducks have been flying high with their perimeter players. But I just think Wisconsin's too big. To your point, they're going to be minus the big guy the Ducks are, and I think Wisconsin should exploit that and look for them to beat the Ducks.
Bol is potentially a mid-first round pick. He's a center, 7'2", 235.
Bol squared. And
doesn't he hit threes like his dad? From what I remember, I think.
You know what? The Conference of Champions, the Pac-12, they should be removed from Power 5. They're a joke from the commissioner all the way to everything up until last week. Once you don't think it's going to get any lower for the Pac-12, well, let's wait till tomorrow because I'm sure it will.
Well, hey, they got the 3 though. They covered it off when they had to. And look, USC's in the news. Got to give them that, you know. Next up, Kansas State, UC Irvine. I know that Irvine is the Anteaters. And they got 30 wins. What conference is that?
That's the Big West. It's just like New Mexico State and the WAC. I mean, they've just been rolling along, and the Kansas State's going to be weird because they might be. Well, I was watching the selection show. Dean Wade, their big man for Bruce Weber and the Wildcats. He was in when they went to the live shot of the selection show. He was in a cast in a boot, so that doesn't bode well for the Kansas State Wildcats. And I don't know. I think UC Irvine's playing with house money, and you win the Big West, you win 30 games. But Kansas State's going to bring it. They went to the Elite Eight last year. Probably should have went to the Final Four last year had not it been for the Cinderella story that was Loyola. But I don't know. I'm going to pick the Anteaters just because of their nickname, and they're going to be. It's a default home game, even though it's in Northern California.
Good point. This is a great game. Villanova, St. Mary's. Villanova in a down year, majorly, but they still got to 25-9. It's a little akin to Kansas, right? I mean, both major programs who have a kind of pullback year, but still make their way into the tournament. Who knows? And St. Mary's beat Gonzaga in their conference championship, and they're an 11 seed, and Gonzaga's a 1.
And this doesn't make any sense. So the night before, West Coast Conference semifinal, Dick Vitale's at Orleans Arena going this, that, and the other thing about Gonzaga this, Gonzaga that, Gonzaga this, and then Gonzaga spits the bit. I don't know how they lose wire to wire. I think it was almost wire to wire to St. Mary's. I had that game 2 weeks ago where Gonzaga went to St. Mary's and just pummeled them. I don't know. I expect Villanova to take care of business. I'm just not buying St. Mary's. This
feels like maybe a one win year though for Villanova. It just doesn't. They just aren't that.
I don't know, man. Level. I think Villanova is legit.
Yeah.
They played 2 games in the last 12 days. I think they'll be fine in terms of rest and all that. But that's just me.
Purdue, Old Dominion. Old Dominion. I don't know what that is. What do we know about this?
Well, I know that.
Right?
I know Old Dominion is the Conference USA. The Monarchs are the winners of the Conference USA, and I don't know. I'm buying Matt Painter and the Boilers at the 3 seed. I expect them to make a deep point. Probably get to the Sweet 16.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Cincinnati and Iowa.
Cincinnati, the winners of the AAC tournament against the Fran McCaffrey. I don't know. I really hope Cincinnati takes care of Iowa. I'm just sick of Fran McCaffrey and of his antics. And I know he only got teed up a few times this year, but I'm just not buying. I think Cincinnati's going to be pissed. They're playing this game in Columbus, so you're going to have a lot of Cincinnati folks there. But I think Cincinnati's probably when does Cincinnati not play with a chip on their shoulder? But my point is like they won the AAC, they're 28-6, and they're only a 7 seed. Fine. I just like them over Iowa.
Who does Iowa have? Anybody?
Man, nobody. They have Fran McCaffrey and his kid. That's who I know.
Who's the other one who has their kid? Boeheim, right? Isn't that his kid?
Buddy Boeheim.
It's crazy. That means he had him when he was like 50, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Next up, we got Tennessee Colgate 215.
I'm going to go on a limb. Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb here and say the Raiders are going to probably lose by 25.
They're going to get toothpasted.
Yeah. I think Tennessee's, like all of Tennessee's losses, there have been to really good teams. 2 to Auburn, 1 to Kentucky. I think they beat Gonzaga earlier. I don't know. People can say whatever they want about Rick Barnes, but they're legit. Like Admiral Schofield and oh my gosh,
Grant
the other
Williams,
guy,
right?
Grant Williams is the player of the year. They're legit. I think Tennessee they might make it out of the South.
They're a very high level college team.
Yes, they're very deep. They lost a heartbreaker last year to who did they lose to? Was it not Loyola? Yeah, they lost to Loyola. Another team lost to Loyola, and I think they're really good. I think they probably come out of the South. No, it's probably Tennessee, Virginia, and then I like Tennessee.
Yeah, that's actually a good draw because Virginia they're really good, but Tennessee has a little bit of that kind of defense aspect to them, and then they have some players.
They got a little bit more Rocky Top. I like them.
All right, now we're into the Midwest, which ends up in Kansas City, North Carolina, and the people at Iona.
That's funny. I think Iona's making their 4th straight run here to the tournament. North Carolina, it's silly.
Yeah, they're really. I mean, how many players do they got? I know we have Duke with like all these top players, but
Roy's got all these.
North Carolina
got all these.
Nazir,
and they're all like
Nazir Little. He's maybe a 6
upperclassman. Yeah. Cam Johnson. It's just insane.
And Kobe, right? The point guard's really good, right?
I didn't like that shot they took at the end against Duke, but whatever. I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I think North Carolina should have no problem advancing to the regional final game.
Well, especially when you see how well they played Duke, and I know Zion wasn't always there. I mean, he was there like half the time until last night or the last game in the semi, but they can hang with it. Those are 2 coaches who know each other, and it really doesn't matter who's on the court. It's going to be a great game if you ever get there. Utah State and Washington, 2 teams you should know a lot about.
Well, until proven otherwise. I mean, you had Washington. By the way, Washington lost to Cal. Cal hadn't won a game all year. Washington they finally broke the top 25. This is like 2 weeks ago. They finally broke the top 25, the first Pac-12 team to do so in what probably was the calendar year of 2019. And then they lose at Cal, who won their first game. They were like 1-17 or something. It was brutal. Expect Utah State to win. I like Utah State. I just think they're older. They just play tougher. I just think they're. If anybody saw that game against Nevada over at the Spectrum a few weeks ago, I just like Utah State's makeup, their togetherness, first year coach, and I don't know. I just am not buying Washington.
Who's the coach of Washington these days?
The old Mike Hopkins, the old Syracuse assistant.
Okay. Yeah. How many years has it been since Lorenzo Romar's been gone? 2?
I think 2, and Lorenzo's down at Pepperdine. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and by the way, a little segue. Kudos to Mike Dunleavy, who went 0 for this year.
Oh, my God.
He's no more at Tulane.
What an ignominious end. In 10 years, he went from like running the Clippers to bowing out in Tulane.
I'm wearing
with the shaved head, right? Didn't he have the shaved head at the end?
It's funny because I'm wearing Tulane basketball shorts right now, but and also because I think he went 0-18 this year with Tulane in their conference, but I still haven't heard anything about the 0-18 West Coast Conference coached Portland. Terry Porter coached the Portland Pilots this year.
God.
They went 0-18. He's still at he's been there 3 years. They've gone 4-46. I think in their or 4-48 in their 3 years over in Portland. Another former head coach, or not head coach, but NBA ties to a NBA player / coach to a head coach at a random school. So there you go.
Oof. Does New Mexico State have the 12-5 chance to upset Auburn?
You know, it's funny because I had them last year. To answer your question, yes, I had New Mexico State against Grand Canyon yesterday in the WAC title game, and it was supposed to be Dan Marley's year. You know, Dan Marley had only gone through. Dan Marley was 2-11 all time as head coach against New Mexico State.
And that was wait, you said Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah, they lost they lost to New Mexico State at a half court buzzer beater this year, and blah 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 blah. Dude, New Mexico State can ball, man. And I was expecting the Grand Canyon upset to beat New Mexico State. But that's the thing about Bruce Pearl. He'll get those players to play, and he'll do whatever means necessary to get into the ref's ear without getting a technical, which is incredible. But I would love to see New Mexico State win, but don't be surprised, obviously, if Auburn wins.
Am I mistaken that Dan Marley also has other like pro guys on his bench?
Yeah. I just forget who. I even though I did the game last night, I was doing like 4 games at once. So,
and that's Flagstaff, right?
No, that's Phoenix. That's
Phoenix. It really?
Flagstaff is Northern Arizona, Lumberjacks.
Oh, right. Northern Arizona. Okay, so we got Dan Mar. I'm just taking a little segue here, too.
Sure.
I just want to see, because I thought I remember reading...
The Lopes.
I thought I remember reading about
Fox Sports, Arizona.
Everybody must be trying to seek this information out because the page will not open. So we'll see if
that's so funny.
Yeah, we'll see if that maybe it'll open someday when we get internet at another time. All right. Next up, we have Kansas as a 4 seed. Very, very much same record too as Villanova. Kansas against Northeastern from Boston.
I love. It's just like Kansas and Villanova. I just love Kansas. I really love Texas Tech out of the Big 12, but I think like Kansas playing with house money. Really,
it feels that way this year. Yeah, like they didn't win their conference for like what? It was the first time in like 12 years or something, right?
Yeah, it's first time in forever.
So it's like a chance to actually be an underdog, I guess, to a degree. Not against Northeastern, though.
Sorry, Huskies.
All right, next up we have Iowa State at Ohio State. 19 wins. How is Ohio State in here?
Yeah, I guess people can say that was kind of there were some complaints. I don't know. I guess they're just bubble bursters, or they just they played it tough. They had a better I guess conference record than some other coaches or some other teams did. I don't know. It's weird. The Big Ten kind of played to its strengths in terms of like their non-conference scheduling, and I think it also helps that they play some of those conference games early in December, which is a little bit weird. But Ohio State, no, I think if you look at their record and see what they did, they deserved it, even though Indiana fans and NC State fans will disagree.
I just hate that 19 wins. It's like hitting 299 or, getting like 49 wins in the NBA or 9 wins in football. Like, I don't know. I always want that nice round number. Next up, Houston, 31-3 against Georgia State. Wow.
Yeah, it's Houston who the fighting
Phi Slamma Jamma over here. What's going on?
The fighting text messages against the wheelchairs. What's his name? Hunter. The Hunter is the head coach at Georgia State. They shoot a lot of threes. Yeah. They were very potent with their offensive prowess. Oh, I'm getting back. Sorry, sidetrack here. No, nobody's on Grand Canyon's staff.
Yeah, I looked at that. I guess I was wrong.
That's okay. But I love. Calvin Sampson. What is it? They're 31-3. Yeah, I think they're gonna handle. Although they looked kind of crummy against Cincinnati today, so who knows?
Calvin Sampson knows how to freaking coach college. Oh my god!
And then when he takes the tie, now you got to look at his winning percentage when he takes the tie off. So it's like it gets better. Like as soon as he takes his tie off, like Houston shoots at a better percentage. It's weird. They actually chart that.
Crazy.
Yes.
Now we got Wofford against Seton Hall. It's a tough one.
Love Wofford.
Yeah.
Love Wofford.
But don't you have to give Seton Hall immense credit this year? This is their 4th consecutive
I don't care
appearance, right?
Hall.
No, but I mean, they lost. They lost all their players last year.
Who did they lose? They have
no. They lost.
Powell.
They lost. Yeah, I know, but no one knew he was going to be great going into this year. They had They had Angel Delgado, and then they lost.
He was quarreling last year.
Kadeem Allen, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, but he was quarreling with them last year. Powell, whose team is this? Is it my? I don't know. I just. But
I think a lot of people thought this would be a step back year for them. I'm just trying to say
that's why I think
they got to
perfect.
20. Yeah,
and that's why it's perfect for Wofford because they worked so hard. Seton Hall did to get to where they are, and then they're gonna meet they're gonna meet Mike Young and the Wofford Terriers and not know what to do. That's what's going to happen, I think.
What's up with this coach, though? Like, are people going to start looking at the coach for other jobs, or do you think he's happy here?
No, he's right where he needs to be. He's been there forever. He's, I think, been there for like 20 years.
No, Kevin, I'm saying Willard, the guy from Seton Hall.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
don't you think? He probably. I mean, Seton Hall's a good job. I always have an issue with that, though. It's like it's a good job from the outside looking in, but it's like a small little like Catholic campus, But you think back to like PJ back in '89 and stuff, so it feels bigger. But I mean, I'd be happy there, I guess, right?
I guess I just don't know what it's the Big East. To me, I mean, you can say what you want about the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12, and all that. To me, it's Big East basketball. I love it. I think there's something special about it. So personally, yes, I would love for to coach anywhere in the Big East.
Well,
if you're asking me,
I think it's cool to play at Prudential Center too, to be the only basketball team playing there.
Yeah, it's just there's something special about Big East basketball. If you ask me, that's just me. Because they're going to cut, like, for example, like, so Seton Hall is going to come off that crazy semi against Marquette, and then almost beat Villanova in the final. And then they're going to go, where are they playing this game? They're playing it out in, gee whiz, where are we?
Oh, I got it up here. Let's see.
They're playing it out in Tulsa, right? Or Jacksonville.
Oh,
they're playing in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah, Jacksonville, yep.
It's going to be in the middle of nowhere, Jacksonville. And it's almost like, this is how I look at it. It's like, so yeah, fine. Seton Hall is used to it and it's going to prepare him for this, but then there's going to be like no one at this game. And then Fletcher McGee is going to, have like 4 or 5 threes. And then the next thing you know, it's going to be Wofford 32, Seton Hall 14. And what's going to happen? You know what I mean? What are you going to do then?
Well, Seton Hall, Seton Hall doesn't feel like, from my small sample size of watching in the tournament, they don't seem like a 3-point barrage type of team. Like they seem like Powell uses his muscle to get to the hoop and to kind of make things happen. But yeah, you kind of have to have that 3-point action. I could be completely wrong about that, but that's just what it felt like.
All I'm saying, and it's no knock on Seton Hall. All I'm going to say is that Wofford's, they've got they. I don't know. I just think that Miles Powell is probably, if not better than any one Wofford player. Miles Powell probably is the best player on the floor at any time. That during that game, but I think Wofford is just. It's hard to describe. I mean, you got Cam Jackson, who's inside, who's pretty good. But if Fletcher McGee, I don't know how to describe it. The guy's he's crazy. He's crazy good at 3-pointers. And he's 2 3-pointers behind the all-time lead of 3-point makes. He's got 502. So the all-time record's 504. So anyway, I just love Wofford. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go. And last up, we have Kentucky against the also 27-6 Abilene Christian. University, I guess. Yeah,
I think actually Coach Calipari is going to go. We're going to have prayer with them, actually.
I think so. Yeah, a sharing of hands. Yep. I think without a doubt. But look, you got to give Cal. Do you give Cal any credit for building up the SEC basketball?
Oh, come on! Of course.
I mean, look how good the SEC kind of is now.
But that's my point. Like the SEC.
Is he the Saban other than not win? I mean,
no, it's just like the SEC has the SEC. All right, fine. It's like they have football. That's all they have football. So what they did was they took Cal, or Kentucky did, not so much the SEC. Kentucky took a chance on Cal, and then the SEC is smart enough to kind of market. And okay, fine, we'll take this guy, we'll take that guy, we'll take Dickie V. Because, everybody and their mom is sick of Dickie V. But the SEC, maybe they're, I don't know. I don't want to say they're not steeped in tradition, because you can say Dominique Wilkins, Charles Barkley. You can give me all that. I understand that. Stephon Marbury, Georgia Tech. Excuse me, that's ACC. But my point is that Cal, I think it's more to Kentucky taking a chance on Cal than it was him building the SEC. I think the SEC kind of just got behind what Cal was doing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. No, I mean, they needed to. It wasn't an obvious slam dunk that he was going to be able to translate what he was doing at Memphis to here. But
that's true.
Man, he's like totally. You just never really thought of the SEC at these kind of levels in basketball that they become.
Right.
I really think it's a lot of his influence.
Yeah, and it's like fine, Nolan Richardson, whatever, 94, and then what else? I mean, right.
And they have PJ Washington and Keldon Johnson, right? So
PJ Washington's pretty freaking good. He's really freaking good.
Bigger guy there. So all right, now we're into the West. We'll go from the top to the bottom. Gonzaga 30-3, a number 1 seed for. I mean, we say they're a mid-major, but they're Gonzaga. But still getting a number one. But still getting a number 1 seed and not winning your tournament. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's like, well, how the hell did they lose to St. Mary's? Fine, they had a bad night. Some guys just have some teams, some coaches, some players, some refs, whatever. Some people just have a bad night, and fine, they had a bad night. I think Gonzaga's people are like, oh, well, they don't have an NBA player. I think Perkins is good. I think
Gonzaga? No, they totally do. People love the Hachimura.
Hachimura's good.
Top 10 pick.
But you want to say, but see, there have been these Nevada people who have been on the Nevada, these, Eric Musselman lackeys who have just been pro Nevada. It's like, dude, I don't know. I think Gonzaga is so much better than Nevada. But that's just me.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch. And you think they'll go against Fairleigh Dickinson and handle that business pretty well. Next up,
in Salt Lake.
8-9 matchup, Syracuse. They did get to 20 wins, which I like. Playing Baylor, who did not, at 19 wins. I have a pretty good feel on Syracuse. What's the feel on Baylor?
Yeah. My feeling about Baylor is I just don't – I don't know. Actually, today is the third year anniversary of what's his name? Oh, God, what's his name? The guy from the guy from Baylor. It was like he was explaining how he gets rebounds. What was the name?
Isaac Austin or something?
No, it was God bless it, Torian Green. Or no, it wasn't Torian Green. Never mind. I like Syracuse to answer your question.
I'm intrigued. Baylor rebounding?
Yeah.
See if Google
it was 3 years ago.
Torian Prince describes how Baylor was out rebounded by Yale.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said Torian Prince. No, I think you might have said Torian Prince.
It's 3 years ago today.
like you said, this next one. This is maybe one of the best games of the first.
And I hope Marcus Howard is healthy, because you can say whatever you want about the kid from Murray State. I love Marcus Howard that much better.
Really?
I really do. Oh God, yes. And then fine, you could say I'm a Big East freaking fanboy or whatever. But I love Marcus Howard. I love the Hauser brothers. I just love Marquette's makeup of their team this year. I thought they got screwed against Seton Hall this year in that semi. It's just I love the way this Marquette team is built. I just love what they do. I think especially if they start hitting their shots, I think it's just dangerous. I think Marquette's very dangerous.
Don't you hate being Marquette, though? You get a nice 5 seed, and then you have to play Murray State with the 12. Like, that's kind of unfair. You're playing the number 2 draft pick in who won their tournament, and this guy is so good that he raises up this team.
It's a great matchup, though.
Oh my God.
I love it. I really love it.
What do you think of have you watched a lot of Morant?
Yeah, he's probably he's probably better than Howard, but that's why I like Howard, because he can dish. I think Howard might be a little bit more deceptive, but that's just, I don't know. I think the team around Howard complements him more than like, all right, they don't have to go put the game on Howard's back.
Well, no, and let's be honest. Like when I'm watching Murray State, like their next best player is sort of like an overweight, undersized, like power forward. You know, it's not what it is. But what do you think? These are my like notes, because I've really been in on watching Ja Morant, because the minute I watched him, he did great stuff, and so I kept watching. But I got he's very wiry and athletic, nice ball handler, great vision as a passer and scorer. He plays in absolute control of the game. His shot is a little different. It's more of a push from the forehead. And the crazy thing to me is he's 6'3", but doesn't he feel like he's 6'6" or 6'7"? Like, he almost reminds me of Paul George. And you know what's crazy with Paul George? Do you know how tall he is?
Like 6'9"?
6'9". You never think of Paul George being that tall. Do you know what his real name is, or his first name is, too? It's not
PG-13?
No, it's Tremetrius. That's what Morant's name is. But
it's like,
a lot of people,
Caldwell Pope.
That's right. A lot of people say Westbrook is the comp. I don't know. I think Westbrook is like way more of an athlete. A lot of people say De'Aaron Fox. He's the same size as De'Aaron Fox, of course, as a righty. That might be a little closer, but I think Morant's a little different. He's a phenomenal finisher, too, and with the left. He finishes with the other hand really well. And I think a lot of people are worried, like, oh, coming from this kind of conference, what can he do? But you know yourself. Look at Damian Lillard. He never even went to the tournament, right?
They should have. I know they should have.
And then you look at his backcourt mates, CJ McCollum going to Lehigh. Cameron Payne went to Murray State. Elfrid Payton, Louisiana Lafayette. And, of course, Steph Curry went to Davidson. You know, you kind of kind of forget that. So I had done some research because I was thinking of doing something on him. So I had it here, so I'll put it out there. Do you know how he was found and why he's at Murray State?
Grades.
No. So, well, that could be, but the way Sports Illustrated says it, because they had a really good feature, they said that, so it says, as it happened, chips, the crunchy, salty sort, helped create the opportunity Morant hungered for. In the summer of 2017, James Kane, then a Murray State assistant, went to Spartanburg Day School to check in with Tevin Brown, a 6'5" smooth-shooting wing from Alabama who had already committed to play for the Racers. In search of a snack, Kane wandered into an auxiliary gym and spied a slippery guard playing 3-on-3. The camp, put on by NBA forward Chandler Parsons' AAU program, brought together top players for drills and scrimmages ahead of a larger tournament. Now a rising senior, Ja had been a late invitee and wasn't listed in Kane's book. So the final thing is, impressed by his smooth dribbling and startlingly accurate passes, Kane, who now coaches at Iowa State, flagged down the camp directors for more information on this mystery playmaker. After learning that Morant and Brown would face each other the following day, Kane called his boss with an urgent message. This kid is a pro. Get here tomorrow. So the coach made the 3-hour drive from Atlanta to Spartanburg and extended a scholarship to Morant before leaving town. So that's kind of crazy how those things happen, and he never went. But, man, I like watching him. He just has the feel of a basketball player. So that is probably going to be the game from South Carolina. Tremetrius. That's probably going to be the game. I am totally going to lock in on that game. So that is March 21st.
Everybody is locked in. It's so funny that Morant's from South Carolina. That's just so funny.
Right? He's just kind of hidden away there. Now, Sports Illustrated, God bless them. They do these like pieces that make it sound like everybody's like apple pie. Like it probably was a lot dirtier how this happened, but I love it. They're like, the guy just went to get chips and there was this guy playing 3-on-3 in a side gym.
Blue chips.
Blue chips, that's right. Next up, we got Florida State, Vermont. Florida State has played in a really good conference, and they went toe-to-toe with a lot of those teams.
Dude, Florida State is so scary. Last 3 years, actually, one of my friends who's a big Florida State guy. I'm actually going to be going down to the Florida State-Miami game in November, football. But yeah, he's a big Florida State guy. And, yeah, I mean, Florida State is so scary. Like, they're so scary athletic. They've got so much athleticism. It's weird. It's just like, can they manage to put it all together? It's, Leonard Hamilton's got all the ingredients. It's like, but do they have the recipe to put it together? I mean, they probably should have went to the Final Four last year. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals where, like, top to bottom, toe to toe. I mean, they have the size, the strength, the athleticism, but then can they make a shot when they need to, or can they not make a turnover at the right time? Can they take the right shot? Can they not commit a dumb foul? That type of thing. Florida State's scary good. Here's a little fun fact. Vermont's got just the fifth or sixth time in NCAA history. Vermont's got 3 brothers on their team, all from their. What's the last name? They're from Evansville, Indiana. I forget their name. The brothers from Vermont, but anyway, Vermont's just out everything in this. I mean, I would be surprised if Vermont kept this game within 20, honestly. And that's no slight on the Catamounts. That's no slight to what they do up in the America East Conference. It's no slight to any of the Catamount faithful, some of whom I know personally. It's just one of those deals where Florida State should destroy Vermont.
Well, it's funny where Vermont is slotted. Could they hang with any of the 4 seeds? So we're talking Kansas State.
It's weird.
We're talking Kansas State. We're talking Kansas, and then we're talking Virginia Tech. Maybe Virginia Tech.
Maybe Kansas State. I don't know. Vermont is weird. I'm really surprised that they got that highest seed. Yeah. But maybe I'm wrong. I really thought they were going to be like a 4. The 13 I thought was high, but whatever.
Next up, we have the 6th seed you talked about in Buffalo, 31-3. Now, is this the after effects of Hurley being there? How many years has it been gone? Has it been 2?
This is 3 years. This is his 3rd year. He's not there yet.
So that wouldn't have been his people then at this point, really.
Well, it would have been. It kind of would have been because Hurley actually took some of the Buffalo recruits when he went to Arizona State. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh boy is right. And it's funny because I'm gonna assume Buffalo is gonna win that game and play Texas Tech. That's the game. We talked about Marcus Howard and Morant. I think the next game that I want to see is Buffalo versus Texas Tech. That's the game I want to see.
Why? What's Texas Tech? They have a guy who actually I saw. People were like, "Oh, you could draft him really high, even though he's not like one of the top players."
Right, and it's Texas Tech. I mean, they are the Big 12 champs. They are
Jarrett Culver. Jarrett Culver is his name, right?
Yes, exactly. Chris Beard is a Bobby Knight disciple, and what they're doing over in Lubbock is second to none. I just think. Speaking of Big 12, how about Shaka Smart? What the hell is he doing in Texas?
God! How about remember everyone was like, "Well, at least you can say we have Smart and Strong."
Anyway, no, they have. Gosh, you just said his name, and I just forgot his name.
Oh, Jarrett Culver.
Yeah, and he's really quick, but they just play relentless defense. Chris Beard, he's got it going on in Texas Tech. I mean, he really does. And I don't know. I'd like to see him coach up against Nate Oates for Buffalo. That's what I want to see. I want to see Beard versus Oates, and I want to see a bloodbath. That's kind of what I want to see, which would be opposite of Morant and Howard. But those are the. It's funny, yeah. That's funny that. The West region are probably those 2 games are the ones that I want to see the most.
What do people think of Bobby Hurley in Arizona State at this point? Has he done enough where it's exciting, or have people been a little disappointed?
I think it's a little disappointing because he came out there all hot and fired, just like this year. They were supposed to be awesome, and then now they're barely getting in. I mean, they lost to Oregon in overtime, fine, but the Pac. That's just so crazy. It's like the Pac-12 is not that good. And I guess he's kind of fizzled out. I think next year. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with his job, in terms of being he'll be fine. I think, but. I don't know what the heck's
he
going
hasn't
on.
set the desert ablaze for sure. And how about his brother? How about Danny at UConn? I know it was only year 1.
They got pummeled this year. Did you see that?
It was only a 500 season, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that was the deal. They said this is. I think they're going to wipe the slate clean. A lot of his guys are going to be in next year, and a lot of the guys that he doesn't want around won't be around next year. So
yeah,
he'll be fine at UConn, I think.
Anything to say on Northern Kentucky, even though you like Texas Tech?
The Norse? No.
Okay. Next up, Nevada, Florida. That could be a good game. Nevada should
weird.
win.
Nevada should win, but then like Florida's sneaky, you know?
Yeah. Who did they hang with in the tournament? I was watching them play. Was it Tennessee that they were? Or Kentucky, I forget who it was. They were or Auburn. You get lost in all these games. But yeah, they were. I was actually surprised because I was like, oh, I thought they're playing pretty well, and I saw they only had the 19 or the 19 wins at the time. So that's Musselman. And what was the whole thing Nevada had like last week or 2 weeks ago where they like broke a
Utah State? Well, this is what happened. It was basically, if I don't know if there's any diehards that are listening, do yourself a favor, like Alabama football, Texas football. If you ever get a chance, go to a basketball game up at Logan, Utah, up at the Spectrum, up where Utah State plays their home games, and that place was rabid. Saturday night in Logan, Utah. I think it was March 2nd or whatever. I think it was March 1st or March 2nd, whatever it was. And Nevada comes in. The winner was going to get the 1 seed for the Mountain West, and Nevada loses. At the end of the game, there was a court storming. Nothing happened. No players were hit, but basically, the Nevada players accused the Utah State coach of saying something, and so when Utah State came back in, when Nevada came back into the back locker room, their player, I forget the guy's name, he punched like the glass by the fire extinguisher, and then they were just going nuts, and then they were going to charge the Utah State locker room. That didn't happen, and then Musselman did talk to the press after the game. It was just a bunch of emotions were running high, a bunch to do about nothing, and nothing came out of it. It was just Nevada lost, and Nevada was so used to winning all year that they didn't know how to handle their loss the way most people would, and obviously the environment up there didn't help because it was just a madhouse up there. But yeah. Utah State can play, man. They really can.
And then last we got Michigan, 2 seed, 28-6, going against Montana. But now a 2 seed is tremendous, but Michigan was like undefeated forever, and I think many people thought they would be a 1 seed, and so they fell off a bit, right?
Yeah, they lost today against Michigan State. They probably should have won that game. They were up 55-50 and then somehow lose that game. Excuse me. They blew it at the end against Michigan State in the Big Ten title game. I see no threat from Big Sky, Montana. But that's the thing, like Brazdeikis and Simpson, they're really good. And they got Teskey, the big guy, down low for Michigan. Michigan's got like the pieces to, obviously they lost in the final last year, but Michigan's got like, once again, they have like the pieces.
And the coach.
And the coach. Yeah, Beilein's good. Yeah, what do you like about him?
Oh, he seems like a tremendous coach. He just wins. He has great schemes. He has great motivation. He gets the right kind of players to play in the system.
He does. Yeah. They pass the ball well. I like what he does. You're right.
It's a little old school, little West Virginia, where he came from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Little Canisius, yeah.
But am I crazy that like Nevada could beat Michigan, couldn't they?
They could, especially Michigan maybe getting pissed off that they should have probably got. There was the no call there at the end. I don't know. Nevada's good. See, the scary thing about Nevada is that they're all fifth-year seniors. They're almost like a Utah State in terms of they have so much experience. They got a lot of transfers, guys who weren't, obviously last year they made a run as well. So you got a lot of returning guys who are, veterans who know how to play. And Musselman's a good coach. And that should be, Nevada does have the ability to beat Michigan.
Well, that's another one of those coaches. Is he good there, or is he better going to like a bigger? Would he be better going and filling an opening in the Pac-12 at one of these underwhelming places?
It's weird because I heard about, like, especially in November and December. I heard. Oh, I just got the email. Clemson to host Wright State in the NIT.
Oh,
there you
boy.
Go. Musselman was one of those guys who he was after his stint with the Kings was done.
Yeah,
he was sending out his own resumes. He couldn't even get an interview at Campbell College in Buies Creek, North Carolina.
Oh my God!
He couldn't get an interview. This was like 4 years ago. He couldn't get an interview there. So he was shopping himself around. He finally got the interview. He couldn't even get an interview at San Jose State. Oh. Now, if you know anything about college athletics, football or basketball, San Jose State is the pits. And so Nevada, he got the interview, and then now he's built this little mini kingdom he's got up in Reno. So to answer your question, I don't know. Why would you want to leave what you built at Nevada when no one else would give you a chance before? But I don't know. That's a good question.
It's like very good question. Build a little Gonzaga up there.
Right.
All right. East. We talked. We talked the play-in with NC Central, North Dakota State, but I think we're going to take Duke. I think if those teams played just Zion, he might beat them.
A likable Duke team. Holy cow.
It is crazy, isn't it?
Do you buy into any of my point? I've been pushing that likable Duke. Do you have any opinion on that?
No, they're very likable. You know what it reminds me a little bit of? When Philadelphia last year won the Super Bowl against New England. It was like when you grow up in this area and the fan base of Philadelphia and all that, you just come to hate them regardless. Right. But something that team did, doing it with a backup quarterback who was playing above himself, and the way that team came together, the coach who people were like, I don't even think he's that great, the magical run, and it's a different thing because these guys are front running with all the players, but the teams can become likable. They really can be. And I think Krzyzewski got a little lucky that all these players came there, and if Zion was there, it would probably feel different. It would probably feel just like any other high-level Duke season where it's like Jabari Parker's there, or, I mean, even Kyrie's there. There's been some major players who have been there, but nobody's Zion. Zion's like LeBron. Like what he does on he's a magnet for your eyes. You just want to watch him play. And I'll tell you,
this isn't Jahlil Okafor. Yeah.
No, exactly. And they won, or Justice Winslow, or these are high level players. But this guy is like the Kentucky player. You know what I mean? He's the guy who goes to Kentucky, like the cream of the crop, the elite of the elite, when they have to do this in this one and done. And I'll tell you, I was trying to watch because I wanted to get into the mind a little bit more of these players because I have a real good feel on Zion. I don't have an amazing feel on Barrett or Reddish. Like I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what I think they do or have a good feel or wrote notes about them or anything. So I was trying to watch this ESPN Plus series on Duke. I think it's called Earn Everything or something. And I'll tell you, I got through like a little bit of it. What a piece of junk. It feels like a reality show, you know, like when they have like the MTV reality shows or something, and it's like they just tell the people to like pretend to be doing something, and it's like scripted, like people eating cereal, and it's just like, wait, what's going on? And like they don't even their banter doesn't even sound real. So I'm watching this series, and I couldn't be any more bored when it started. It's Krzyzewski sitting in a room with Nolan Smith. Is that who it is? Who was on the 2010? And they're just talking about how the logistics are going to go for the Canada trip, and like nobody talks like this because they're going like Krzyzewski goes, Nolan, do you think it would be a good idea for me to take the team to dinner on Friday night? Yeah, I think it would be. And then Nolan Smith is like, yeah, you know, I think that's a good idea. It would get kind of allow you to like interact with the team on a personal level. And you're sitting there going, what? These guys aren't talking like that. And then, and then he's like, and what do you think about practices? And Nolan Smith is like, well, I don't know. I think you could all be there. And he goes, how about we have the assistant coaches all work with groups of players, and then I'll go on the second floor and look down so I can get a feel on how each group interacts. And it's like, I'm going to go crazy. This isn't inside. This is like scripted. I hate to say it. It felt to me like Krzyzewski was almost allowing this BS program in to cover for like monkey business going on. Like, well, how could we be doing anything funny if we're doing this series where you see everything? And it's just him and Nolan Smith like talking about whether they could go to dinner in Canada, and you're like, oh my God. Well, so I got to get a little further because I want to get into the players and I want to see Zion and Reddish and Barrett. But it was just like, I was like, oh man, this is awkward.
Well, talking about TV, I just found this is confirmed. Andrew Catalong, Carter Blackburn, Debbie Antonelli, and John Schifrin will be calling the Murray State Marquette game in Hartford. That should be tipping off at around 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday.
Oh, that's
afternoon.
A hard commuter time, man. Oh,
on a Thursday afternoon. Well, I'm assuming because the first Hartford game tips at 2, so you have to figure that's 2 hours. So that's 4, and then just say ballpark 4:30, and then let's just say the half hour for the warm up, so 5. So you want to say tip maybe 5:15. But it will be Carter Blackburn, Debbie Antonelli, and John Schifrin. And they'll be on TBS. To give you the heads up there. Okay,
there we go. So I think we talked enough about Duke. VCU, UCF, we sort of talked about, but the acronym bowl here. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's UCF. Blake Bortles?
Who's the coach of UCF? Is that Rod Strickland?
Johnny Dawkins.
Oh, Johnny.
Wait. They have Taco Fall, the big guy, who's 7'7".
Oh, yes. Now, is this where Rod Strickland was, or did he?
No, Rod Strickland was with Calipari.
No, but he left Calipari, I thought, to go coach. Was it USF?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what Rod Strickland's up to.
No, I remember. What the heck?
I'm not trying to be facetious. I was like, seriously? You're being serious?
Or somebody from Calipari's
bench mob?
Oh yeah, yeah. Rod Strickland is University of South Florida's. Is in his 3rd season as an assistant coach for USF men's basketball. So he's an assistant for. Isn't that weird?
Wow, I did not know that.
Geez, who's the head coach though? If that was Strickland,
that's South Florida.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh my God, let's see. USF.
Brian Gregory. The old coach at.
Oh my God, I wrote USF head coach and it said Charlie Strong, and I said no, he did not take over the basketball program.
It's Brian Gregory.
Brian Gregory.
Old Georgia Tech coach.
Oh. Weird. Because I remember there was the only reason I remember this is because a handful of years ago I interviewed the head coach of NJIT at the time, Jim Angles, who's now the head coach of Columbia. And I remember they were doing one of those things where it was like they were going down to play at Kentucky and then they were playing USF. And I remember looking and I'm like, USF, and I looked back through the coaches and it seemed like a few of them had left Calipari's bench to go coach at USF to like kind of build something there. So, wow, weird. I wonder if he's still doing that. God, Strickland, he should have hung out with because he was with Kentucky, I thought, before that.
He was. Because he was helping out John Wall, I remember.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Holy shit.
Boy, that tells you a lot about the VCU UCF competition. That's where this conversation ended up. All right, next up we have Mississippi State and Liberty.
Ben Howland against the Liberty Flames. I really like Ben Howland and what he's done with the Bulldogs of Mississippi State this year. I don't care about Liberty's offense. I don't care about any of that. I like Mississippi State.
Ben Howland was UCLA, right?
Yeah, and he was also Pitt.
Yeah, but he was there a while at UCLA.
Oh, that's right. Huh? Yeah, it was Weber State as well. Yes. Yeah. Wow. He was, I don't know. Not Pitt. He was UCLA. I'm sorry.
No, but he might have been. Wasn't he Pitt before it? Who was he? He was someone before UCLA.
I think he was Pitt.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those Pitt coaches. Then Jamie Dixon went to TCU, right?
And thank God they didn't get in. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So Mississippi State should win that, but Liberty was 28-6, and the 5-12 matchup does tend to have the upset in it. So Virginia Tech and the St. Louis Billikens, right? Are they still the Billikens?
Yes, they won today. Over the Bonnies of St. Bonaventure, and
in Brooklyn.
It's funny because in Brooklyn. Yes, I don't get it. And Davidson and VCU. That was going to be the matchup. Didn't happen. You'd like to think that Virginia Tech's going to, take care of Travis Ford and the St. Louis Billikens.
Travis Ford. Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Yep.
Such a nondescript place. All I ever remember is Majerus there. Yeah. So weird. You're like
3 years ago, they were like nobody. Like they were the, whatchamacallit, Cruz had left, and it was just, they were left on the bottom of the A10 scrap heap, as it were. And Travis Ford has taken the Billikens to a 13 seed.
Crazy. Next up, we got Maryland playing the Belmont Temple mix-up. What's up with Maryland?
I hope the Belmont Temple kicks the crap out of Maryland. I'm just not interested in Maryland basketball. Don't care.
What do they got? Who's their coach these days?
What's his name? Oh gosh, what's his name? The guy from the guy from Maryland. Oh, off the top of my head, I forget.
They keep showing me the football coach. That must be
Ralph Friedgen. No, it's not.
No, it says Mike Loxley is the football coach of the Maryland Terrapins football.
Jeez,
Mark Turgeon.
Size? Mark Turgeon. Yeah,
Turgeon the Sturgeon.
The Billiken.
The Billiken. Do they even have any players? Like
they do. They're guard savvy. They're perimeter oriented. But I just think I'm just not buying. I'm not buying the Terps. I will not fear the turtle.
Okay, so I do have Maryland. I'm actually seeing a top 15 pick here. Center Bruno Fernando. Is that legit? 6'10".
I don't. Yeah, he's a big dude.
From Angola. Interesting.
Yeah,
So we got a big guy there. All right. So next up we have LSU Yale. Is the coach going to coach, you said, or is he going to be allowed?
I mean,
that's going to pay his way in?
It's going to be Tony Benford. And I don't know. Have you watched? I mean, obviously Yale's pretty good, right? They got the NBA player. What's his name? I can't pronounce his name. But you watched the game. Ume, yeah. But LSU is that much more freaky. And I'm not talking about Stromile Swift freaky. I'm talking about they've got some serious players. And I just can't wait for LSU to kind of take that scandal and put it on their back and hopefully lead them to a regional final appearance.
Yeah, Miaoni, right? That's his name?
Right.
Yeah, I saw him playing today. Yeah, that was crazy.
He's pretty good. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really, really legit. And I don't know. I just think that Naz Reid's pretty good for for LSU. He's their big guy. And Cavell Big B Williams. I mean, I saw Tremont Waters is really good. I think LSU is amped for a little regional run here. And it's weird. LSU only plays 6 or 7 players, but they're freaky good. And Waters is really good. And I think they might give Michigan State a game once they meet them if they do, get to or if Michigan State gets that far. I think it'll be a Sweet 16 matchup, which should be fun to watch. LSU, Michigan State.
Yeah, if Michigan State ever didn't, that's a pretty simple looking run
bracket
for LSU. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yep.
All right, so we're almost there.
But we got the Louisville, Minnesota.
As
here.
You said, the Patino Bowl. And how about Patino winning a championship in Greece or something? Well, I have to give him credit, though, because remember Larry Brown tried to go do that this offseason, too, and he was kicked off the team in 5 games.
Robert Parrish isn't walking through those doors.
But Larry Brown's 78 and he's trying to coach. I mean, jeez.
Next town Brown.
Next country Brown. Oh my God. I do have to give Patino credit for that though. Jeez.
Yeah, it's wow. So hopefully and it's so weird. I didn't think Minnesota, just from the eye test, I thought Florida's 19-15, I thought was better than Minnesota's 21-13. I even thought Minnesota's 20. I don't know. Maryland's 22-10. I don't know. I think Minnesota's 21-13. I just don't know. I just don't know how sometimes, like, now I'm getting into the nitty gritty of the seedings, and well, I'll be honest, I really don't know how Minnesota and Maryland got to where they got, but here we are. And same thing with Louisville. Like, you know, I don't know. I still have to get over the resentment that I have for Louisville head coach
Chris Mack.
Yeah, they blew that game last year for Xavier so bad. Never mind.
Geez, how about just blowing the Duke game? Oh my God!
I know. That's why I kind of enjoyed it when I drive home and I'm getting these updates to see how they. Yeah, I know. Well, that's Chris Mack for you.
Did you send the highlight in, and then you found out it was a comeback?
Well, no, that's what I was told. We had to, because we had to have the highlight in at a certain time, so I had to meet the deadline. So whatever.
And Louisville had won in your highlight?
Well, no, it was with 10 minutes left. The highlight was posted till 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Is younger Patino a good coach?
Richard is not that bad. I thought he had more talent, like when he first came in. I thought like their talent has sloughed off a little bit. That's just me. I thought he had more talent like 2 or 3 years ago. But I guess he's a good coach. I mean, I don't think he's a bad coach. I'm sure he's not to where he wants it. I'm sure he was expecting maybe like a 26-7 instead of a 21-13. I'm probably sure. He's probably counting his blessings that he got in. But then again, I think. But then you look at this game and you think to yourself, or I think to myself, obviously the tournament or the committee did this on purpose. I mean, come on. I mean,
it's pretty
are you
good.
serious? I mean, really.
It's pretty good. Well, you got to have those stories. They're what help the narratives. You know, if you're within a seed or two, just let it it happen. And then last up, Michigan State, 28-6, another stellar season against Bradley, where they can't have people covering the team anymore.
Against the Bradley Beals, I think Michigan State. It's so funny. I had Michigan State. I covered Michigan State and Tennessee more this year than I have. Like last year, I didn't. Last year, I had a more. It was more. Wider spectrum. This year, I've done about 10. I've done about 9 Michigan State games this year, and I've done about 9 Tennessee games this year. So I'm kind of like on the ball with those two programs. And Michigan State's pretty damn good. I mean, they've got Cassius Winston, and then they've got McQuaid, the shooter, and then obviously Aarons went out today with the injury, but they have the big guy. They're just, I don't know. They're really, really top to bottom good. But it all starts with point guard Cassius Winston, Nick Ward obviously down low, but they're Michigan State's pretty solid.
You know what's tough for me with Michigan State is that
Nasser.
I'm told to hype players, and like I love watching college for kind of prognosticating how I think they'll be in the NBA, and I'm like sold a bill of goods on a lot of these players, and then they get to the NBA and you don't hear from them. So like. When you look at the players in the NBA right now who went to Michigan State, isn't it funny that probably the most impactful one is Draymond Green?
Yeah, it's funny. And you know what's so funny? It is interesting, but Majerus said it because Majerus' last game that he coached for St. Louis was against Michigan State. And Majerus said it. You can look it up on YouTube right now. Majerus said it. He's like, Draymond Green's the best player that I've seen all year, and he's going to be a tremendous pro.
But like Gary Harris is pretty good in Denver.
Yeah, but Draymond Green's better.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But it's funny though. Like when you look at the players, Jaren Jackson, top pick, and he, I mean, I'm not going to make assumptions on him after just one season. I know he's had his moments and things, and that team kind of blew up. But you look at it and you're like, man, remember how much Denzel Valentine was sold to us? And it was like, because I think they were like, oh, this could be like the next Draymond Green with the triple doubles and everything. And it's just weird. It's weird how that, and I think that affects how I watch Michigan State. Like, I think you have to be a Michigan State follower to love them. There's just not a lot I love about them because I want more in the NBA from them. Is that unfair?
No, I don't think it's unfair. It's just, it's to your point. It's like me watching USC football and saying, oh yeah, Cody Kessler's going to be really. It's like, dude, Cody Kessler is okay.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, he'd be great at whatever. He'd be great at Arizona. He'd be great at North Texas. He'd be great at South Carolina. But to me, he was just like a run of the mill USC quarterback. Not to talk shit about him. I'm just saying.
No, it's 100% how it is.
Just
Cody
Kessler.
And I feel like the longer things go, where you don't get a transcendent player or two, I just sort of like, I don't pay attention to them. Right. I'm like,
It's like a tractor trailer. It's like, yeah, he's not Chris Webber, but he's not. Yeah.
Whereas
it's just tractor trailer.
Whereas I love watching the Kentucky teams every year because they're just recycling the players every year, and you're like, oh my god, I can barely hold on to this like a roller coaster. Who is going to be good? I don't know. They're all scoring 10 points a game. They're all playing like 15 minutes a game, or not 15, but 20, or like Duke this year, where it's like a wealth of players to figure out if what they're gonna be. That can be fun to me. And then I always hate like. Then someone like Draymond Green comes out, and I know Majerus said it, but someone comes out and you look back and go, man, I had no idea. You want to be right in your prognostications. It's just hard, selfishly. Wow. So that was pretty good. That was a pretty good run.
Cool. So any other, speaking of prognostications, am I way off, or do you think that the Duke UNC would just not be the best final?
No, that would just be... Well, first of all, let's say it. Duke anybody is going to be must watch. Duke UNC.
We need Duke to be in there. Well, you need Duke to be in there because of Zion, obviously.
Yeah, Duke anybody would be tremendous. I'm just trying to look through here. So they have to come from the other bracket. What's their best Final Four here? Before we say that, Murray State would be the best.
You know what? I think it's going to be like a Duke Texas Tech. It's going to be like a Duke Texas Tech or like a Duke Michigan, even a Duke Gonzaga. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Gonzaga would be interesting.
I think the Texas Tech, or I'm so into Buffalo. Like I just love Buffalo. I think that would be amazing. But
so then I look. All right. So then we look. Obviously, North Carolina is a 1 seed, but if we look up and down through those two brackets, South and Midwest, I'm just seeing if there's any stories I like.
Virginia maybe would be okay. Duke Virginia would be good.
Oh my God, Duke Kentucky, I'd love that.
Yeah,
I'd love that one. I mean, really anybody Duke, but Duke Kentucky, Duke UNC, because they didn't play. They didn't play this year, did they? Duke and Kentucky in any of those?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so, because we've seen Duke UNC 3 times this year. We're sort of oh wait, did they? Duke 11-6-18. It says they played each other.
Oh yeah,
is that the first game of the season?
Yeah, that was in Chicago, right?
Oh, is that right?
That was the
killed
United
them.
Center.
Yeah, they killed them.
That's right. That's right. That's right. When that's right. That was the first. Yeah.
Oh no, Banker. It says Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
Oh, in Indianapolis. That was basically right after Halloween.
Wow.
Now we're at St. Patrick's Day.
RJ Barrett, 33 points. Cam Reddish, 22.
They won by like 30.
Yeah.
They won by like 30 points.
Zion, 28. Oh, my God. Yeah, that would... I would actually kind of like to see that one because... because of that, too. Because they got so... they kind of got so killed. But that would be good. But, yeah, nothing touches UNC for a host of reasons. I'm just trying to see here.
And Texas Tech already played Duke.
They
Duke beat them by 11.
Yeah, I'm just looking through here. This Villanova team, I wouldn't like to see play Duke. Like I would have liked one of their.
Wait, so you're even giving them the respect and do you even give them the fact that they go this far?
Who, Duke?
Villanova would have to go to
I'm saying like I'm just looking for storylines in here that would be fun. This Villanova team would not be fun.
Tennessee would be all right.
Tennessee would be really good, actually. Yeah, nothing would be good as Gardner Webb though. Not. Yeah. So no, I guess it's funny. it's all the teams you would kind of expect, except Tennessee. I don't think many people would expect, but I think Tennessee would give.
But Tennessee's so good. Tennessee's really legit.
Yeah, they would give him a run, and they have a coach.
It's too bad though that Rick Barnes isn't really respected.
No, but he drafted or not drafted. Oh boy, Freudian slip. He recruited Kevin Durant though, right?
He's kind of like Leonard Hamilton in some respects.
Well, didn't his team have? He had Kevin Durant, PJ Barnes,
LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah. He probably has a fair amount of NBA players.
Yeah, TJ Ford.
Yeah,
and Royale Ivy. Yep.
I wonder which coach has the most impactful NBA players in the league right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
I wonder who that is.
Krzyzewski.
You think? Well, no one has LeBron. That's the problem.
Well, yeah. And no one has him.
And no one has Giannis either. Damn. Yeah, I guess it would be. I mean, you got to give him. Yeah, right. You got to give him Kyrie, even though he only played 10 games there.
But hey, he played.
Oh no, dude.
You know what though,
dude? Not even. Why are we even thinking? It's,
Roy.
No. It's Kentucky. It's Cal.
Cal.
He's got everybody.
Hello.
He would win a championship. Yeah.
McFly. Well, no, it's funny because Kyrie though, people forget about that. Kyrie had a legit Duke run. He only played 10 games.
10 games. Yeah. No, he had some moments. He had like 40 in a game, right? Something like that. Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing you would say is like maybe you do Barnes because at least then you get the MVP of the league basically in Durant. But yeah, Cal is that would be a fun one to get like all the because like
10 years ago it was like Syracuse. It's like 10 years ago it was a different crop, and then not crop. You know what I mean? It was a different set of circumstances.
Absolutely. No, I mean you had Carmelo. I mean he wasn't that 10 years ago, but
is he still playing?
No, he didn't. He started the season with the Rockets, and he flamed out in like 10 games somehow. And then he was in negotiations kind of behind the scenes with the Lakers to come back, but they fell off the face of the earth, so they weren't going to bring Carmelo into that. Boy, is that a story. Oh, my God.
The Hollywood
Lakers,
fakers.
Oh, my God.
I saw him. Did they play the Knicks today, right?
Oh, they did, yeah. Who won? I hope so.
Last I saw, they were up like the Lakers were up like 10 points or whatever with 10 minutes to go, but then you never know what happened. You know what I mean? You just don't know.
Oh, man. Brooklyn's playing tonight. Clippers. I didn't realize how bad this they're going to make the playoffs, but I didn't realize how bad this road trip was. A 7-game brutal road trip where you could lose every game. Oh, my God, dude. The Knicks won. 124, 123.
That's, you know what? It makes sense now because I saw a TV Funhouse and they said something. Holy cow!
Oh God!
They're like, no, because now the Lakers are tanking or something.
Oh my God!
I'm watching highlights right now. This is ridiculous. Dude, I was watching the Players Championship and then I was watching 3 things at once, and I saw on the final score there. The Lakers were up front. The Lakers were up like 8 points or some shit. And then
dude, who coached Kawhi? Was that Steve Fisher?
Yeah, San Diego State.
Was it San Diego State? Was he the coach then?
Yeah, San Diego State.
Oh my God, so you can give him credit. That's a pretty good run, actually. Oh my God. It's like the Fab Five and then, oh my God. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's nuts. So... All right. Well, that was a good discussion.
Cool.
So we'll maybe we will pick up in a couple of weeks around. We've done it in the past. If there's some hot storylines,
is Raymond Felton still playing?
I think he is. I think he's on. I think he's on Oklahoma City.
Oh, that's right.
And then how about who was the coach at Westbrook at UCLA at the time?
Ben Allen.
Ben Allen, he'll get all these players too.
Yeah, see, this is the deal, dude. Yo, it was 122-111 with 3 minutes left in the fourth. Lakers are up 122-111 with 3:20 left in the fourth.
Oh my God!
And now I'm watching highlights. That's insane.
Oh my God! Unbelievable. Well, we shouldn't date this too much, so we'll pick this up a couple weeks, and we'll maybe tie in some of the baseball preview stuff because I'm actually paying attention to baseball early this year via
the A's
show.
Play. Yeah, the A's play their first game against the Mariners in 2 nights in Japan.
Yeah, they have 2 games, right?
Yep, they play the Mariners. Yep, They're playing the Nippon whatever right now.
Oh, they're there now? Wow.
Yeah, they're there. They already played like 2 games or whatever.
I just have to say, I love watching the dog. I love the dog show because like he is not a TV person, and I love how he's just like kind of looking into the camera, and he's like playing with his hands, and he's just like stream of consciousness. And I love the interviews, and he's like, great job by you,
dude. He'll be doing high heat the day after the Super Bowl. And he's supposed to do baseball, and he's talking football for the first 15 minutes.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
wait a second, this is MLB Network.
Well, no, they have like good job, bad job, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I love how he goes bad job with the Syracuse trip of Zion.
LeBron shot it and got it dropped. Knicks win 124.
Oh my God, the Lakers! What a disaster! What an absolute disaster! And then how bad is it that LeBron is coming out with like 15 television shows like right now? You know, it's just a bad look. It's a bad look. He got
a shot blocked by Hezonja. Got a shot blocked with 2 seconds left.
What a bad look. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, that's so bad. That makes sense now. I saw that tweet. All right.
Oh boy. All right, man. Well, we will pick it up in the next few weeks. Good discussion.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, man.
Let it live. March Madness.